attention, please.
No.
Okay.
It's a rough audience tonight.
Yeah.
Before we begin this evening, the Readers Theater Group wish to dedicate today's program to the memory of our members of the Readers Theater Group who have passed away. Wayne Strum, Gene Costello, Betty Porter, Beverly Long, and Thurman Rasmussen. Now, Linda Piper will provide a brief reading by her friend about the Declaration of Independence.
She's still got to finish writing.
She's not finished writing it yet.
It's your turn. You're on.
Where am I?
You're on here.
Here.
You're on.
Who are you? Oh, I remember. I'm supposed to do a reading.
Yeah. You go, girl.
Well, to do that, I have to have my spectacles.
Like,
Go, Linda. The Declaration of Independence by Evelyn Torrent, May 2018. Oh my, I can't see out of these. I like to imagine all 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence standing ruffle-shirted and periwigged in picturesque groups around a large table, as if posed for their portrait. It's July 4th, 1776, and they wait to be handed a quill pen. But in reality, didn't sign until August, including Thomas Jefferson, who composed his masterpiece in a second-floor parlor or Market Street in Philadelphia, working at a portable writing desk of his own invention. Though superbly crafted, his lines were nevertheless subjected to the scrutiny of a committee. And John Adams and Benjamin Franklin. The latter proposed changing, "We hold these truths to be sacred and undeniable," to the more memorable, "We hold these truths to be self-evident," which suggests that even the most accomplished writers can use a bit of help. Now, did I tell you about these glasses? Spectacles? No. Well, they're almost as old as the Declaration. They belong to Benjamin Cressy, who was born in 1761. So, on an ancestral tree, he would be great, or fourth great grandfather in our family. How these managed to get carried down, I have no idea. Oh, I forgot to tell you, he also fought in the Revolution.
Which side?
He's always doing that. So, let's see if I can get these all folded up nice. has this lovely little case. Gonna close it. There.
What were you going to tell about the special date?
Oh.
That.
Technically, as they mentioned, the Declaration of Independence was signed on August 2nd, not 1940. So, that happens to be my birthday.
And she looks pretty good for
You
somebody.
forget it. I'll remind you every chance I get. That was what I was gonna tell.
Okay. The title of this evening's program is Still Standing After 250 Years. Now, it's a radio play that was created by Bruce with the help of Claude.
Good old Claude.
The players are Dorothy, a retired school teacher, sharp as a tack. Hank, a Vietnam War veteran, never short on opinion.
Nailed that one.
Gloria, a former civil rights marcher and jazz lover. Walter, ex-NASA engineer, proud of every rocket. And Rose, a retired nurse who keeps everyone in line with a smile. We begin at the village co-op. And Dorothy,
Happy birthday, America. 250 years. I still remember when it was 200, and I was standing in front of my 4th grade class explaining the bicentennial. And Tommy Briggs asked me if I knew George Washington personally.
Did you?
I'm 78 years old and not 278.
Well, you look wonderful for your age either way.
I baked a flag cake. The red stripes are strawberry, the white stripes are cream cheese, and the blue field is blueberries. I started at 6 this morning.
Betty, you're a national treasure. I'm going to nominate you for a Presidential Medal of Honor.
You say that every time I bake.
And I mean it every time.
250 years. Lord have mercy. You know, my grandmother was born in 1898. Think about that. Everything that woman saw in one lifetime. The Wright brothers, 2 world wars, television, the March on Washington. She was 75 years old and she stayed up to watch the moon landing on a little black and white TV set the size of a bread box.
Now you're speaking my language. Neil and Buzz, July 20th, 1969. I was 23 years old and working at the Trajectory Analysis Group for JSC. And I cried like a baby when the Eagles touchdown. Grown man, slide rule in hand, tears streaming down my face.
Yeah, I watched it on a little portable TV in my garage. Deer in one hand and a wrench in the other. I dropped the wrench when Armstrong set foot on that moon. Put a dent in the concrete that's still there. My son lives in that house now, and I told him, do not patch that dent.
That is possibly the most sentimental thing I've ever heard you say.
Don't get used to it.
going down memory lane, the hard parts. Gloria.
You know, it would not be honest if we only talked about the moon and the cake. This country has put us through some things.
That is so true.
I was 19 years old in Birmingham in 1963. I remember the fire hoses. I remember the dogs. I remember being so angry I could not see straight, and being so frightened I could not sleep, and being so determined that it felt like something burning in my chest that nothing could put out. And then one morning, Dr. King spoke. And that burning turned into something different, something like faith.
I served with men of every color in Vietnam, sweltering together in jungles as a way of making you see people clearly. I came home and saw how some of those same men were treated, and I thought, that is not the country I signed up for. That's not the country I wanted to be. Still working on it.
Still working on it. That's right, but we did not give up. That is the thing about America. People who ought to have given up did not give up.
I lost a student to Vietnam, Bobby Marchetti. Grew up 2 streets from me. 17 when I had him in class. Loved baseball and bad puns. I've never fully made my peace with it, and I don't think I'm supposed to.
My father came home from the Pacific with what we now call PTSD. Back then, they just called it being nervous, and they told him to take up a hobby. He took up gardening. He grew the most beautiful tomatoes in Cincinnati. That was how he healed, out there with his hands in the dirt. Dad, a man who stormed Okinawa, defeated by a stubborn aphid infestation in 1967.
Apollo 1, January 1967. Gus Grissom, Ed White, Roger Chaffee. We lost 3 of the best men that I ever knew on a launch pad. The program almost stopped. And then, and I want you to understand this, what courage it took. Those astronauts kept volunteering. They kept showing up. They refused to let those men die for nothing. 20 months later, Apollo 7 launched. You don't get to the moon without going through a lot of fire first.
That's America in a nutshell right there, Walt. Gets knocked flat, gets back up, and goes to the moon out of spite.
I'm putting that on a bumper sticker.
Scene 3, the good stuff. Remembering what worked.
Oh, excuse me, Keith. I hear a drum roll down here.
Are you hearing the drum?
I'm hearing the drum.
Can he? Let's go for it.
All right,
Drum?
let's talk about the good stuff. Because there's been so much good stuff, it makes my heart too big for my chest. Public libraries, free to everyone. Walk in off the street, no appointment, no membership fee, and there are the complete works of Shakespeare. Every field guide to every bird that ever flew over Colorado, and a man asleep in the periodical section. That is civilization, friends.
Jazz. America gave the world jazz. We can be forgiven a great many things for that.
Baseball!
Rock and roll.
The polio vaccine.
The internet, which, yes, I know, also gave us comment sections and people arguing about pineapple on pizza at 11 o'clock at night. But also every piece of music ever recorded, available instantly in your pocket. I remember going to 3 different record stores looking for a Glenn Miller album. Now I ask a small cylinder on my kitchen counter and it plays In the Mood before I even finish the sentence.
I don't trust that cylinder.
Hank, it plays Glenn Miller. What more do you want?
I want it to stop listening to me sleep.
The GI Bill. My Uncle Chester was one of 8 kids from a coal town in Pennsylvania. First person in his family to go to college because of the GI Bill. Became an engineer. His daughter became a doctor. Her son is a federal judge. That is 3 generations changed by one piece of legislation. That is America working the way it's supposed to work.
Medicare. I was a nurse for 40 years. I watched what happened to people before Medicare. I do not want to go back there. I want anyone in this room who uses Medicare to raise their hands.
I used to complain about government programs. My doctor's appointments cost me a $12 copay. $12! I spend more than that on this hat.
That's very nice, Hank.
It's got the Navy emblem on it. I paid a full price and I'd do it again.
Scene 4, the ordinary heroes.
You know, we talk about presidents and astronauts and generals, but I think about the ordinary ones. The school crossing guard on the corner of 4th and Maple, and who was there every single morning for 31 years and knew every child's name. The farmer in Iowa who kept the grain moving during the Depression, because to stop would have meant something worse than hunger. It would have meant defeat. The seamstress in a little apartment in New York City who sewed American flags by hand. The shift worker, the night nurse, the letter carrier in January in Minnesota. They did not get a monument, but they kept the whole thing going.
Teachers. I'm obviously biased, but every great American you can name, president, scientist, artist, general, had a teacher somewhere in their past who saw something in them and said, "You are capable of more than you know." That teacher's name is almost never remembered, but they changed everything.
The women of the labor movement. Frances Perkins. The Triangle Shirtwaist Fire killed 146 people, mostly young women and girls, because the exit doors were locked. From that tragedy came workplace safety laws, the 40-hour work week, the end of child labor. Those women died so that our children and grandchildren would not have to work 12 hours a day in a dangerous factory at the age of 10. We live every day with what they gave us, and we do not know their names.
My buddy Jimmy Navarro grew up picking strawberries in California. Joined the Marines because he loved this country, even though this country was still figuring out if it loved him back. Died at Da Nang, 21 years old. I've thought of Jimmy almost every day for 70 years. He didn't get a monument either. He got a small white cross in a national cemetery, and my remembering him. I figure if I keep remembering, some part of him is still here.
That counts, Hank. That absolutely counts.
Scene 5, what we pass along. Dorothy.
My granddaughter, she's 12. She asked me last week what America means. And I thought about it for a long time before I answered. because she deserved a real answer, not a bumper sticker.
What did you tell her?
I told her it is the world's longest argument about what freedom actually means. And I told her the argument is not a flaw, the argument is the whole point. The day we stop arguing is the day we stop caring. And I told her the most important thing about America is not that it has always been right, it's that when it's been wrong, there have always been people with the audacity to stand up and say so, and enough other people willing to listen and change. That is extraordinary. In the whole sweep of human history, that is genuinely extraordinary.
I would add, freedom isn't free. And I say that not as a slogan, I say it as a man who watched his friends die for it at 20 years old in a beastly hot Vietnamese jungle. It costs something. Someone always pays.
And the ones who pay most dearly are not always the ones who receive the most freedom in return. That debt has not yet been fully settled, but I choose to believe it is being settled, generation by generation, slowly, imperfectly, and in the right direction. Because I have lived long enough to see things change that I did not believe would change in my lifetime. That gives me hope for the things I have that haven't changed yet.
Do you know what I love about America? We contain multitudes. Walt Whitman said that about himself, but he was really saying it about all of us. In our country, you got Miles Davis and John Wayne, Maya Lin and Thomas Edison, Julia Child and Muhammad Ali. You've got the Rocky Mountains and the Florida Keys and the Great Plains and the streets of New Orleans on a Tuesday night when someone is playing a trumpet just because they feel like it. No other country on earth has that particular chaos. I find it magnificent.
I find it exhausting and I love it completely. You know what I keep coming back to? Ordinary kindness. In all my years as a nurse, I sat with thousands of people in their worst moments. And the thing I saw over and over without exception was other people showing up. Strangers driving hours to donate blood after a disaster. Firefighters running into building everyone else was running out of. Neighbors leaving casseroles. The country can be loud and messy, and the news can make you want to move to a lighthouse and read novels. But underneath all of it, people keep showing up for each other. That's America to me, people showing up.
Huh. That trombone player needs practice.
That trombone player is playing in a parade on the 4th of July, and they are out there doing it, and that is more than most of us managed this morning.
Fair point. To the trombone player.
To the trombone player. And to America, 250 years old, still loud, still arguing, still showing up.
And still going to the moon. They're sending people back, you know. My granddaughter might be one of them.
Come in, come in. There's flag cake and we saved you a seat.
We hold these truths to be self-evident.
And 250 years later, we are still proving them.